Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to show you how to take a Greenlight monster truck. I got Taurus here and put that body on a Spin Master chassis, but I chose this because it has the old flotation tires and the front engine design as Taurus. You see here is a front engine, but the concept's going to be the same for every single one you do. So let's get started. So first thing you're going to want to do obviously is separate the body from the Spin Master chassis. You just need a Phillips head screwdriver and loosen the screw inside, and there we go, and the body pops right off there. Now we got to get the body off of Taurus here. To do that, again, you're gonna need a drill. So if you're younger, get your parents' help with this, but you're gonna wanna drill in two different spots, this here and right there. But in order to get to them, you have to do a little bit of cutting. And again, this is where the needle nose pliers, I could not recommend them more. They are great, a great hobbyist tool. These are great tools for cutting zip ties. So make sure you get a pair of like parrot nose pliers. And you see they have a slight bend to them. It's very nice. So we can cut off the, you see I'm just cutting the bottom pieces here just to be able to get access. Do the same thing at the front here. So you guys can see. There we go. And I think there's some in the middle here. It's hard to do this while I'm on camera, look at this, but you see the back is loose there because we cut it. Let's figure out where it's connected up front. Okay, right here. You see there, right there. Just cut that. And there it goes, off it comes. So now we have the body off of the chassis here, or the suspension. You could, in theory, take these snips and cut flush this right here all the way across and just glue your body on, and you'd have to cut your roll cage all the way across, just like that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the interior out and just use the body and put it on the roll cage, and we'll test fit the roll cage, and I'll show you how to do that. But we just got to drill out these washers. We'll go ahead and drill these out. You see, I'm not going to add a ton of pressure, just light. And I probably should use a smaller bit, but that's okay. So now what I'm going to do is I got a very small flathead screwdriver, and I'm gonna, there's like a little slot here right at the end. Stick my screwdriver right in there, and I'm gonna pull up and just kind of work it. You see it coming up there? Just gonna work it. You're gonna dent that bumper, don't worry about it, that's okay. So this is actually a metal body underneath here, like, or at least a MIM'd chassis. Some of them are plastic. The plastic ones are much easier. This one happens to be metal, you can see there, and you just got to keep working it, and eventually it will come off. Do the same thing for the front here. Try to find a gap and get up underneath. Front's gonna be harder. And now maybe we can get a pair of pliers in there, which is a little bit stronger, and start working it too. There we go. Grab it with the pliers. See, I do have it pliers. And start bending. I got the bumper there, that's okay. Snap that in half. But hey, you just do what you got to do to get it off. Just be very careful because this is metal here. You don't want to get like shards in your finger and stuff. There we go. Just need to get up under it, break it loose. There we go. Just like that. Now we can get our There we go. You see the motor pops out. Save that motor, you're gonna need it. You're gonna need that. So we'll get that off in a second. And you're gonna wanna take your interior out because we're gonna use the interior from the Spin Master. So it just pops out just like that. So there is the body disassembled, and we'll re-glue that bumper. You see it kind of cut in half, but we'll re-glue it, no problem. It'll look like brand new. There's the other piece there. It'll look like brand new once we get done. But all right, so here's a pretty important step. You want to test fit. Which means I'm gonna have to do some cutting off of this to get it to set. So you see right there underneath, if I were to put it on like that, this piece back here is right there. It's blocking setting flush with the cab. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take, again, these pliers, which are amazing, and I'm gonna cut right here. Just gonna kind of cut it as flush as I can and just squeeze. All right. And then I'm gonna cut down right here, like kind of flush. I'm gonna cut this peg off because we don't need it. So you see right against our driver's back here, that's where I'm gonna cut down. And I'm gonna squeeze. You see it right there. See how my pliers are flush up against the driver's back. And we're gonna squeeze. And there it goes. You see it popped right off. So now when we set a truck on there, it sits where we want it to. You see your little driver in there. So it goes in there right up against there, and you're actually gonna glue, you're gonna add your glue right there to hold on the truck body, so, and right here. I also try to cut this down a little bit, just to make this little knob here, just to make it flush, so the truck bed sits on there nice and flush. Doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah, there we go. Close enough. And then everything will sit on there nice and flush, like just like that. There we go. And we're probably gonna have to cut out this motor. Let me see. So I'm actually gonna cut a little piece here because there is a little peg up front, and we'll just cut. You can see I just made a cut there. Sorry, I think I missed it on camera, but cut there, just along the sides. We're gonna grab that piece and just kind of twist it out. There we go. So now there's a little slot up front there. There we go. Now you see the stock motor, obviously it's not gonna fit through there, so we're gonna cut the top blower off. And again, if you have a truck that has a hood without a cutout, you don't have to do this, but I'm gonna do it, so I'm gonna cut that top blower off. There we go. This is why I said save your motor, because we're gonna use this motor. So what we'll probably do is we'll, glue that motor in like that, and that'll sit nice. But we gotta see if we need to cut down any further. And it looks like we're gonna have to. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off too. So what we'll do is we'll cut here, right near the back of the actual, I guess that's the intake manifold is what that would be. So I'm gonna cut it there and just kind of squeeze right through there, okay? And I'm gonna come over here and just kind of cut it flush. You see I'm just grabbing there, cutting it flush. This is a little bit harder to do, but it's gonna eventually work. And sometimes you gotta use two hands. Oh, there it goes. And you see, now we can glue a motor on there like that, and it should sit nice. So we'll test fit that. I'll show you what that kind of looks like. So we'll put that motor there. And of course this will be glued in place. So when we go to set it on the truck for real. But right now we're just test fitting, or we can just do this. Come on. These are pretty small. And we'll turn it over and see to make sure that's going to set flush. Looks like it's going to, I think. Let's see. The roll cage will cover up some of it, but I think that's going to be pretty good. So, yeah, we'll just glue that on, and we'll call that good. So we'll come back to that in a second. Yeah. We're actually going to glue the bottom right there onto the frame, but let's take a look at the roll cage. All right, so obviously, if you would try to set this truck on the roll cage, it's just not going to work. As you see, it's just not going to work. So you're going to have to cut. So I cut. It's better to start high. So I'll cut maybe the suspension about there in the back. And do the same thing over here. And then, again, these parrot nose pliers are amazing because you can cut flush right here and right here. Go to the other side. Cut flush there. Sorry, I'm trying to do this on camera. We're gonna have to cut flush here. We can actually get rid of that. We're gonna cut flush here. Same on this side. All right, and we'll cut that out. All right, and you see kind of how it works there. All right, so that's what it should look like. So now we can test fit, and don't forget we got to cut this little bar at the front. Okay, now we should be able to test fit it and see what it's going to look like on there. Ooh. All right, well, I just broke my lights. We can glue them back, but again, just be very careful when you do that. All right, so that's about the right height and everything like that, but the front's causing me some hang-ups, so we got to trim some of the front, and you just gotta kind of decide where you want to do that. So I think I'm going to just cut right here near the front. So I'm going to cut here near the front, near the suspension, about right there. I'll try to do this on camera. I'm sorry, guys. All right, and okay, so you see where I cut it there? Just right up against the suspension. Same thing on the other side. If I can get my pliers to work right. All right, so there we go. And we'll test fit again. It looks like that might get us where we need to be. Yeah, so we didn't cut it too low, we didn't cut it too high. I think that's just about right. And we might have to cut this right here. I'm gonna go ahead and do that to make it set a little more flush. Just make it even. This bar off right here. There we go. Turn it down a little bit, and now, again, test fit, test fit, test fit. Just make sure before you glue it that everything's gonna set the way you want it to. So that'll be about how the truck looks when it's done. Now, if you're happy with that, you can go ahead and start gluing. However, for me, I feel like it's not setting, not quite going far enough. I would like it's setting like this. I would like it up a little more like that. So I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get that to work. And I think part of the problem is this front here. I have to trim some of that down. So yeah, so I might have to trim all of this off actually, which is unfortunate because that gives us a good glue point, but we do what we got to do, and that'll give us an extra. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, so I can't exactly remember where we left off, but we have our chassis cut down, and I've detailed it the way I kind of wanted it. Same thing with the roll cage. It is cut, and we are ready to test fit again. Remember, just test fit, test fit, test fit. So this is kind of what it looks like when it's on the chassis and roll cage. We've chopped it up, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. Remember, we're gonna fit this motor in between there, so it's gonna sink in kind of like that. And we're just gonna test fit again, just to make sure everything's fitting good. And this is, now if your motor doesn't, if your truck doesn't have a cutout, you can just plop it on there, glue it on, get it how you want it, and you know, set something like that. So it's gonna look fine, I think, just like that. So I'm happy with that. And again, just like you did with the, you know, the muscle machines, make sure that everything's centered and setting straight, so your body's not sitting crooked like that. You want it straight and flush. So once you're happy with, after test fitting, seeing how it's gonna set, you know, I'm pretty happy with that, and that'll look good. That's gonna look pretty nice. Trying to do this on camera again, so it's a little awkward. So I'm sorry if the camera angle is not the greatest. So now we have to test fit our motor to make sure that's gonna work. So I'm just trying to, because we might have to do some trimming to the motor just to make sure everything's gonna work. And yeah, we're having some fitment issues. So I think I'm gonna have to trim off this back tab here. So again, we go to our pliers, and you see just that back tab there. I'm just gonna trim that off, just like that, and that should get us some clearance to sit down in the engine bay. Call it an engine bay, but that's, so kind of like that. And let's see, and that does us, yeah, that's pretty close, but as you can see, it's still not quite poking through the hood like we want it. So we'll have to do some engineering here. We're gonna take the bottom half, because it's kind of sitting, and that gives it a little extra lift that we need to get through the hood. So the headers here, so we're gonna chop the headers off and glue the bottom on to the motor. And of course, this is an extra step that you won't need to do. I'm just gonna chop them off there, just so I can have that bottom base plate. And I'm gonna chop them off there. There we go. Maybe trim a little closer on this side, just like that. Okay, we'll just glue it on there like, where'd it go? There we go, like so. Again, we're gonna test fit just to make sure everything works. Make sure that gives us the extra, you know, level that we need. Always just test fit and make sure. It doesn't look like that would add much, but you'd be surprised. And there. So you can see now the engine is poking through the hood like we want it. So I think I'm happy with that. I'm gonna glue that, and then you'll glue the body down. I'll show you how to do that, but first things first, I'm gonna glue this base down. So again, Gorilla Glue, really good stuff. And just have Have a rag handy to clean up any extra. And now you're gonna kind of sit it down in there. All right. There we go. And here's how we're gonna get a line. Just make sure like that. All right, that was good. Now we'll throw a little heat on it just to make it set faster. Heat gun. And next we'll do the body. All right, and I glued my bumper back on so you can see it's just one piece again. I did break it, but see if I can get the focus. There we go. See, it's one piece now. And I fixed my light bars up on top. There again, one piece. So now we're gonna just glue this body down. And so I'm gonna add some glue probably at the back, on the sides, here, the roof, and on this front peg, and right there. And that should hold it in place. So let's do that. Get the top first, and the sides, little loop in the back, maybe some right here, some in the middle, and on the front post, right there. All right, and I added some glue kind of in the back there. So now we just got to sit it on. All right, and now we make sure everything is aligned the way we want it to. Make sure it's sitting flush. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. And now we'll hit it with the heat gun. Make it set a little faster. Doing micro adjustments, we can just push this over a little bit, but there we go. All right, you just let that dry overnight, and there you go. Again, you just got to make sure, I'll move my stand here so you can kind of see everything's nice and level. All your glue contacts. See how the front end is straight. Make sure it's straight, and not by the tires, but in the middle there. And the back, same way. Make sure everything's not crooked, and you're good to go. Just let it dry. So there you go. That's how you do a Greenlight 2-spin master, more or less. Of course, you can come up with your own way of doing it, but that's just how I do it, and hope that's helpful. Thanks, guys.